Okay, hi everybody. This is Nightmare on Scam Street. I started the video with what I thought was the right settings for streaming, and of course they weren't. So I had to restart the stream. We're probably about 10-15 miles away from Dublin just now, which was our setting off point. We're going to fly across the Irish Sea and hoping to land in Glasgow, which is probably slightly better weather than Dublin. Dublin wasn't rainy, but there was quite a lot of cloud on the way out of Dublin. I've got my rudder pedals arrived yesterday. I was waiting for them, and you know what it's like when you're waiting for something. It's the worst thing ever, and it took 2 days to get here. I was horrified, absolutely horrified. Right, so we've had an instruction from Scottish Centre that the QNH is 30.22 in Glasgow, so we'll adjust these now and then go back to standard. We'll get an alarm until I've actually fixed it. That's it, 30.22. The views outside are rather nice on this flight. We'll just whiz out a little bit. If you can stand the noise, I'll go to an external camera because they do look nice. Let me turn the sound down first, because it's loud. It's one of those things that many people have asked Fenix to sort out, is the noise difference between the cockpit and the outside of the plane. If you're switching to an outside view, it really becomes incredibly loud all of a sudden, and hopefully in the next revision we'll get a tweak which maybe give a slider for the outside sound level. But it's a hefty old noise, that's for sure. So Dublin is right behind us. I'll quickly try and show you the flight plan. Should have done it in that one, navlog. That's not going to help you because it's all just waypoints. So here we are just now. We're just coming over, I think this is yeah, we're just about to go over the Irish Sea, and then we'll be coming up through Girvan, Turnberry. We'll actually fly over the runway at Glasgow and do a loop around and come back to land on runway 23. That's the way it normally works. We'll plan to go to flight level 240, but I don't know why we're stuck at 210. I know there's a rule somewhere about if you're flying north it's an odd number. Well, if you're flying one direction it's an odd number, and if you're flying the other direction it's an even number. But I can't remember which way around this is now. So for example, if it's even north, then you'd be flying at 220 or 240 or 260. Wow, that's loud. So we're about to be handed over to Manchester Control. It's quite interesting. You can see there's quite a lot of turbulence. We go to one of our passenger seats. Let's say right middle. No, must have just been a batch of turbulence we were going through, because it doesn't look as bad as it did. So I've got the updated version of the livery. Saul, the guy who's been doing the livery for me, he has modified slightly the font size in Nightmare Line so that the G doesn't get squashed by the window. He is just an amazing guy. That's one of my landing lights, isn't it? I'll put a link to his contact details in the notes for this, because he is incredibly enthusiastic about doing these liveries, and he'll do your livery for any plane that you can get for Flight Simulator, including the paid ones, like this one, the Phoenix, and the 737, and whatever. I don't think he has limitations as such, which is really good. We should have, I've just realised we ought to have a message waiting, because we should have had the final no. I did two sillies when I was setting up. Number one, I switched off the external power before the APU had throttled up to actually generating any power, which was a ridiculous thing to do. So I've never done that before, and you just feel so stupid. So of course what happened was that the yeah, lots of things I'd entered in suddenly disappeared, and I had to re-enter and redo the flight plan and all sorts of things. It was a real stupid thing to do. I was just trying to get ready as quickly as possible. So we're just coming over the Scottish coast now. So you're quickly on the map. There we go. So the first place we're going to reach is Gerva, which is actually a place called Girvan. It's a seaside town. I've been there. It's very nice. we used to have a holiday home somewhere around here. And we used to travel through. Oh, right, we've got to reduce our height. I think I'll put this with a bit of welly behind the descent. I showed you this before. This green arrow here depicts when we're going to actually reach that height that we're setting. I want to try and get there before Turnberry, because Turnberry has a 250 knot speed limitation. At Girvan we should be at 150. That's why it's asked us to come down to 150. But we have to start slowing down by Girvan. So we'll get down to 150 quickish. And then we've got to try and limit our speed. So I'll actually start that process now. We'll set our speed to 300 at the moment. Wow, that was quick. So we've got a lot of falling to do. Let's have a quick look at the extended map. This time we're not actually, because I had to change the approaches and everything, this time we're not doing the lap over the runway, we're just coming straight in. So I'm going to use the air brakes for a little bit, just to try and keep our speed. Clearly having this set at whatever is making no difference whatsoever, because we're descending fairly quickly now. That's the point where we need to start descending to get into the right position for here. According to this, we'll be in the right position there, so we could reduce that a little bit. So we need to be at 7,000 by there, but we're actually going down to 3,000, so I could actually go past there. That's about there. So we need to be at 3,000 by here. We'll be at 3,000 by there. We'll certainly be below 7,000 there. We've got to get our speed down to 230 knots. So by reducing the speed that we're going down at, by reducing the descent rate, is giving us some play in the speed. So So I'm going to try and set this to somewhere around 250. Right, I really want to get into a position where I can get the gear out. So 9,400, we have to be at least 7,000 by there. We'll do that easily. In fact, we're going to be at 3,000 by here. So we could stretch that out even a little bit further to give us more play on the speed. So you can see as I'm changing this little arrow is moving further away. So it looks like we've got good control of the speed now. If I turn it down, it'll go down. Let's get it down to 230, then I'll put the gear down. Because we're not a million miles away from where we want to be now. That's 230, so I'm going to pop the gear down. I'm actually using the gear as a brake. So according to this, we've got 10, 20, what did it say we were our way? Who went ding? Oh, I've got the air brake out still. Let's put that back. Right, can we see some traffic at 1 o'clock? My auto pilot sees them instantly. Okay, there's somebody up there. I'm not very good at spotting traffic. The view out of the windows is okay, but... Okay, so here, where are we at? We need to put these back to real time, real life speed now, altitude. Seat belts are on. I never turn them off. Turbulence. That's what I tell the passengers on the way out anyway. Let's put some flaps now. Let's see, flaps. We're a bit fast for flaps, so we'll drop some speed off. So that's the first set of flaps coming out. What amazes me is how slow this plane can fly when it's fully when the flaps are at full. So we're at flaps 3. Now we're at full flaps. I'll put the speed back into managed, so the computer can manage the speed. It's not going to take it into an overspeed, but it'll take it close to that. Now on our map here, we've got 15 miles to go to CF23. Oh, we're at the speed, at the height they told us to go to. So I'll set the height as managed now. In a little while we're going to intercept the flight, the ILS. Right, there's some restrictions here. 3,900, 2,500. We're great at this speed coming in. Those dick 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 noises are because we're approaching our set speed. Cabin's nice and comfortable. Our wheels have all got brake pressure, so we're not going to be stumbling around on the runway when we get there. Oh, there's a message from NOSOPS. A delay card. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Of course I will. That's to say, I'm sorry, I was late. Alright, let's have a look at some scenery. Once again, going to go to outside mode, turn the noise down. So we're heading over an area called Lanarkshire just now, which is slightly to the south, southeast of the airport. In a little while we're going to do a turn to the left. Let's just get that map up. So they want us down 100 feet. So I've got to switch this into hundreds mode. So as you can see, we've picked up the ILS and our glide slope is pretty good, but when we turn, see, as soon as you get a new barometer setting, you change it immediately. That can make a big difference. I mean, a small change in barometer reading can make a massive change in height. And if you had a fault on your system, so that your radio barometer was faulty, you know, your radar height indicator, and you were relying exactly on the barometers, a small wrongness in the barometer a small error in the barometer readings could make the difference between you being 100 feet above or below where you thought you were. And of course, if you under those conditions, you'd be flying in manually. But so here we go, landing gear down, signs on, landing lights. Yep. Spoilers arm. Yep. I put that medium auto brakes, landing gears down, landing lights on, signs on, cabin ready. Let's give the cabin a bing bong to let them know that we're ready to land. You can't hear that on this plane. On the fly-by-wire one you can. Right, so we're on approach now, so I'm going to switch to approach mode, and that'll take over all the height and speed and everything. So there we go, we're lined up with the runway and we're just approaching the glide slope, and there's the runway ahead of us, looking for other aircraft because somebody else was given permission to land and I don't see where they are. The way we're coming in, we're going to be crossing the River Clyde, which is around here. We'll be crossing the M8 motorway, which is also around there. So if we just get our view sorted out, a little bit of down for speeds and such like. There's nothing much to do at the moment. I saw some flashing lights. No. So you can just see the pappies. You've got 2 green, 2 red. That means you're actually well on the glide slope. That's a visual indication. They change. If you're too high, you get white lights. They're not green, they're white, sorry. If you're too low, you get more red lights. And I heard a pilot who was doing an after dinner speech once say that if you see 4 green lights, you're in the grass at the end of the runway. The guy is actually a Concorde pilot. It was a really interesting after dinner speech he gave. So there is something on the runway. Don't see it. Oh, he's been told to exit the runway. I bet it's one of those situations where we get told to go around because whoever it is hasn't managed to get clear of the runway. There's some fairly biggish hills over to the west of Glasgow Airport. It gets a bit hilly in that direction and all the way across to
1,000.
Right, I cannot see that other plane. It's still being told to turn off the runway. Whoever's this Jersey flight. That's him there, look, right in the middle. We're going to be told to go around, I'm pretty sure. No, he's getting off the runway. It's not clear yet, but he is getting off the runway. I've zoomed in quite a lot, so we're still a fair way out. This would be like me using binoculars while I'm flying the plane. Okay, he's off the runway. We're fine. So, hand on the throttles, ready to go into reverse. That's the Clyde just below us. Or a tributary of it. So if you look at here, it's saying we're in landing mode. In a second it'll say flare.
50, 40,
There.
30, 20, 10, retard. Retard.
using my new foot pedal brakes. The rudder system I have has controllable brakes in variable brakes, which is great because I don't like the systems where the brakes just slam on all of a sudden. I can vary the amount of braking. So we're going to leave the wrong way here. Should have left it that one. I think the brakes have overheated, so we'll pop the brake fan on. So all we need to do now is let's get taxi to gates. Right, so we can start putting things back to where they were. For example, so we're going to use the tiller to steer on the taxiways. What I'll do in a next video or some video shortly, I'll actually show you all the homemade kit I've got here. The only piece of commercial kit I've got is the pedals, rudder pedals, and I looked really hard before I bought them because they weren't cheap. Well, there were the cheaper ones available, but they work extremely well. But the techniques involved in making them, I just don't have the tools necessary to do that, which is a shame because I really like making things. However, all the rest of the stuff I've made, the throttle quadrant, Matilla, and knobs to control things like the cruise, the altitude settings and the speed settings, and the bearing and so on. All of that's been made, and it's stuff that is available on the internet to buy, or not to buy, to get. The main feature of it is a USB chip. It has inputs for joystick features like it has I think it's got 8 axes, which means you can have 8 different variables like left, right, up, down, turn. I'm using a separate one for a soft brake, which gives me gentle braking by hand, but that's, as I say, that's now on the rudder. The tiller is on there. That's one of the analog inputs. So that's all in one relatively neat box. My homebrew stuff is more function than form, as they say. I make it to work. It doesn't have to look beautiful. I've got a man holding me in this time. I think that'll do. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay, we're there. Right, brake on. Let's have a quick looky outside and see what's happening with the air bridge. There's the air bridge connected. So if we go to our EFB, we can see that we need a GPU and we want chocks. We've got the jetway door one is open, and now we need to go and do some shutting down. So we know that the external power is available. So we can now go to the pedestal and shut down the engines. So we're now running on APU, not APU, external power, GPU, ground power. So now we've been told we can unload, but there's a weird thing here. This jetway seems to just decide by itself when it wants to come and go. So I've just told the plane to deboard, but the jetway decided it was going to go ahead and disconnect. Right, turn those lights off. There we go. Let's get the landing lights off. Should have done that. Sometimes these switches are a right bugger to get. Gonna have to put them on my control system so that I can actually switch them off from my box. Okay, external lights all off, seatbelt signs off. If we go to the EFB now, look at mass and balance, we should see that no passengers have started deboarding yet. What's going on? We've got the door open, we've got the jetway connected. I don't think there's anything else I have to do. So we should be okay.
Glasgow ground, North 5, November Oscar, Sierra 5. Could you please send the baggage? North 5, November Oscar, Sierra 5. We don't know where the baggage is.
Uh-oh.
Glasgow ground, Logan.
Anyway, look, don't need to sit and watch this. This is just the plane unloading itself or trying to, or not doing for whatever reason. I'm sure that there's nothing I need to do. Maybe I just need to shut down completely. Anyway, that's the plane shot down. That was the flight. I'm going to do another one today. If anybody's got any interesting flights they'd like me to try, please email me at nightmarelines@gmail.com and let me know if you think there's a good flight to try later today sometime. So that's it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all later.